How's it going, everyone? It's Adam from InsideTech, and this is the Headphones Awards for 2024. I've spent the past few months testing and comparing as many headphones as I could, and not just the new releases from the past year, I've also made sure to retest everything I did before to account for any software updates that in some cases have added new features and improvements. I've ranked them all based on their performance in various categories to find the new winners. There are some very interesting changes, and I've finally narrowed down the best 8 headphones you can buy right now. Obviously, we all have different priorities for headphones. Your overall winner may not be the same as mine. So as we go along, I'll include a ranking of how each of these compares to each other, and a full summary at the end so that, just like last year, you can pick your own winner based on which headphones suit your particular needs. It's been a lot of work and we've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Up first is the new Bowers & Wilkins Px7 S2e. The Px8 featured in last year's awards video, and they're still a fantastic performer. In fact, they're a finalist again this year, and only a single point separates the two models. So if you happen to prefer the Px8, you could definitely swap those in instead. But after testing, I found the new S2e actually has a slight performance edge, which is very surprising given that they're also $300 cheaper. B&W's luxury build quality is still clearly on show here, and not just in the materials. You feel it in the resistance you get extending the headband and rotating the ear cups, and in these perfectly milled tactile metal buttons. The ear cups are once again large and spacious, there's thick and plush padding, and you get a reasonably comfortable wearing experience. The noise cancellation and transparency are both still good, though trailing behind the market leaders for performance and the customization over those. There's none here. Customization in general remains limited, and we still only have a bass and treble slider to adjust the sound. There's no fully custom EQ. Battery life is solid at 30 hours, as is connectivity. You'll even find that satisfying instant switching version of multipoint here. That's great, but I can't help but feel that B&W missed an opportunity to upgrade this new model with the latest Bluetooth 5.3, and perhaps to improve the features in the app and to include an option for passive playback when the battery runs out.
Thanks to software updates, the microphone quality has actually improved. You get a clear voice and low background noise. So the Px8 climbed a few places, and there's really nothing to separate them from the Px7 S2e. They're both really strong performers now when it comes to phone calls.
So if these are matching the Px8 in performance so far, then how are they different? Well, primarily the new model uses a premium fabric in place of the Px8's leather, which gives me exactly what I asked for last year. The performance and super high build quality of the Px8, but in a vegan-friendly alternative. I fully appreciate that the leather build and the slightly higher weight of the Px8 can give it a more premium edge. I did rank that build ahead of these. But the new model essentially matches this without the use of leather, which for me is perfect. In fact, these now have a lower weight, which gives slightly better comfort too. The most significant improvement though is in the sound quality. The E in the name indicates that this is an evolved version of the Px7 S2, and now has a retuned acoustic performance to match that of the flagship Px8. But what I found is that it actually exceeds them. By comparison, the Px8 is a little bit too heavy on the low end, especially after the latest updates, whereas the S2e is more balanced and as a result offers slightly higher clarity. The 8s lean towards a warmer tone, and I find the 7 S2e match the impressive resolution, detail and soundstage. Where the older Px7 S2 couldn't match the performance of the Px8 last year, the new S2e now can. Some will understandably bemoan the lack of a fully custom EQ, I do as well, but the audiophile grade sound here barely needs any adjustment anyway. The combination of a build and sound quality experience this premium is rare to find. I'll reiterate once again that you could swap the Px8 model in for these if you happen to prefer them, but for me, the new model has an edge, even before you factor in the huge price difference. For B&W to deliver this level of performance, to maintain that exquisite build quality, and somehow offer this at a much lower price point, that's pretty incredible. The Px7 S2e breezed into a final spot for this video and retail for $399. Another new entry now, and it's the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra. I did test out the new regular QC model as well, but was disappointed to still find aging specs, things like Bluetooth 5.1, despite an otherwise very strong performance with ANC and comfort. The Ultra model though revamps Bose's headphones with the latest specs and, crucially, with significantly improved sound quality. You won't find premium build materials here, instead Bose prioritise a light and comfortable design. You've got spacious ear cups, a well-balanced clamping force, and ample padding in the headband. Bose has definitely earned the right to put comfort in the name because these are wonderful to wear for long periods of time. The comfort here is second only to the noise cancellation, which is simply in a league of its own. These can block out an astonishing amount of noise, and the Ultra easily takes first place for ANC. You can set up your own ANC profiles, customizing the level of cancellation and whether to include wind noise reduction. My only gripe is there still doesn't seem to be a way to turn this off. It's either transparency, which is pleasingly natural sounding, or it's one of the ANC modes. There are both tactile buttons here for music controls, and also a touch surface you can slide across to change the volume. It works fairly well, but can be a bit sensitive. You can customize the tap and hold function from things like your phone's voice assistant or battery levels, and you can adjust voice prompts, the wearing detection behavior, and the auto power off time. Bose's 3-band equalizer is marginally better than B&W's offering, but still fairly limited relative to the competitors. The always-on ANC could be contributing to the relatively poor battery performance, where you'll only get up to 24 hours of listening. The connectivity specs are much improved though, with support for the latest Bluetooth 5.3, Google Fast Pair, as well as aptX lossless with Snapdragon sound. This isn't just useful for higher quality sound, but you get the benefit of super low latency as well. Fast-paced gaming is definitely possible here, let alone videos, as long as your phone supports Snapdragon sound, that is.
The Bose mic quality hasn't been the best in previous years, but there have been significant improvements with this new Ultra model. It's now quite good. The background noise isolation isn't the strongest, so they do let in some background noise, but my voice usually stayed quite clear. And I also like how they have the self-voice feature, so you can choose how much of your own voice to hear during a call.
I mentioned Bose's improved sound quality with the Ultra, and it's not just thanks to Snapdragon sound. The new custom tune technology will analyse your ear shape to optimise the sound performance too. Plus, the new tuning delivers a much better sound experience than previous Bose headphones. The bass is richer and more punchy, but you get better overall clarity and detail now. This is no longer the Bose weakness it once was. It's not quite enough to penetrate that audiophile level category some of our other entries occupy, but a noticeable improvement and easily good enough for a casual listener. Bose's new immersive audio brings head-tracked spatial audio, and I have to say this is the best spatial audio effect I've experienced so far. The smoothness of the tracking even beats AirPods. But it is still spatial audio, and although definitely cool to try out, I personally still prefer the higher quality music experience with it turned off. The Bose QC Ultra maintained Bose's lead with comfort and noise cancellation, but you can now get those things without compromising elsewhere thanks to the revamped specs and sound quality. They retail for $429. Next up is Technics EAH-A800, the first entry to also appear in last year's video, so I'll try to keep repeat entries a bit shorter so as to not be too repetitive and to keep this video more concise. Now, the only software updates since then have been to remove Tidal integration, nothing major at all, but the excellent performance has been enough to carry these through to the finals 2 years in a row. What you get here isn't especially outstanding build quality, it's good, but not exactly luxury. They are comfortable enough though, offering nice and thick padding, the clamping force is fine, and the ear cups are spacious. The controls offer a satisfying click, but I found were just a bit too close together. However, I do like the double tap to switch the ANC mode, as well as the hands-free Alexa control that's built in. One of the stronger aspects is the level of customization you get. Lots of little quality of life tweaks you can adjust to your own liking in the companion app. For instance, you can set specific levels for both the ANC and transparency, and the performance with both of those, the ANC in particular, is surprisingly good. These get overlooked for the all-round performance in fact, but that's actually precisely why they're back in the 2024 lineup. You get an excellent 50 hours of playback with ANC turned on, the support for instant switching multipoint, Sony's LDAC, Google Fast Pair, wearing detection, and passive playback for when the battery runs out. So they're a feature-packed entry with great specs.
These are still one of the best options on the market for phone calls. They isolate your voice from the background noise really well, so they're good even in noisy environments. The fact that these still only came in 4th just speaks to the quality of the other headphones in this video, but these are definitely a great choice for phone calls.
Technics are probably most underrated in the sound quality department. The A800s offer a dynamic and high-energy sound with a slightly V-shaped tuning. You get strong bass, crisp highs, and a loud max volume, plus a great selection of equalizer options. I think a slight treble boost brings the best clarity out of these, and I'll admit there's still a level above these where the audiophile grade entries belong, like the Px7s, but an average listener will be more than happy with what's on offer here. The A800s are just great at basically everything. It's just unfortunate that that can work against them. They're not the very best in any one particular category, but as a pair of headphones with such great all-round performance, they deserve this spot in the 2024 lineup. You can find them now for around $250. Moving on to a new model now in Shure's Aonic 50 Gen 2. First of all, the build quality is great. The materials are premium, as is the headband extension, and there's a satisfyingly tough resistance to the ear cup rotation from the metal arms. This does push the weight up a little bit, but comfort is still fairly good thanks to some very thick headband and ear cup padding. The clamping force isn't too tight either, and the ear cups are large, although not especially deep. The controls here are mostly bunched together, but for once are easy enough to distinguish by touch. And best of all, there's a 3-position slider which you can customize the functionality of. By default, this is noise cancellation, off, and transparency, which makes sense and it remembers the strength of the ANC or transparency you selected for each position. But you could set this to change between 3 different equalizers, again of your choice, all between Shure's various spatial audio modes. The customization throughout this app is fantastic. You can choose to hear your own voice during phone calls, have transparency or environment mode automatically activate when you pause your music and turn off when you resume, and you can toggle specific prompt tones you want to hear. Shure's noise cancellation is reasonably effective, but to be honest, the passive isolation does most of the work, and this could be argued as the weak area. The transparency mode can be very effective though, especially if you crank it up. It does come with a fairly loud hiss at higher levels, but it does filter in surrounding noise very well. I was also impressed that these offer extra features that most other headphones don't. For example, you can choose whether multipoint will instantly switch to the device you're using, or you can set it to maintain the current connection if you just want to quickly check something on the second device. And when plugging in the USB cable, you don't have to have the headphones immediately start charging like most headphones do. You could set this to only start charging with the headphones switched off. And that's super useful, say if you were plugging in to listen to your phone and didn't want it to start draining your phone's battery. Speaking of battery, you get 45 hours here, alongside a fast charge feature. And then connectivity is possibly the best I've experienced so far. You've got audio playback via AUX, including passively, by USB-C with support for 32-bit high-res playback, or by one of the many Bluetooth codecs. You don't often get both aptX Adaptive and LDAC.
The microphone quality with these was also fairly good, although I'll admit not quite as good as I expected from a company with such expertise here. They don't really isolate your voice as well as some of the other entries, although even in noisy environments, I still found my voice came through fairly clearly.
Shure still managed to flex their experience with sound quality, and I was surprised to find these even rivaling strong competition like Sennheiser's Momentum 4. The sound is rich and expansive with great clarity and detail. I thought these were balanced very well in the stock settings, but delve into the extremely comprehensive equalizer options and you can really tweak the sound to your own preference. The spatial effects are actually worth trying here too, and with the right tracks you can really enhance the soundstage. It's ultimately the flexibility you get that's the USP. And I'm not just referring to the sound either, it's also with all of those customization tweaks you can apply, some of which are unique. Shure combines this plethora of features into a classy design that sounds great too. They retail for $349. At the halfway point, I want to introduce today's sponsor, Wicked Cushions. Now, I try to find integrations that are tailored to each video so that I can bring you something genuinely useful, and these alternative ear cushions seemed a perfect fit. Not only do your headphones' ear cushions need replacing over time, but you may simply want to swap them out for a more comfortable option, or just one with a cooler design. Wicked Cushions offer a huge range of designs, covers, and material choices, including some sweat-resistant options, which could be great if you want to use your headphones for the gym. They've got great video tutorials for the installation online, and offer reassuring replacement and warranty support with each purchase. I just like how simply swapping out the ear cushions can completely change the design, and actually make the headphones feel brand new again. So if you're interested in these, then make sure to check out the links below in the video description and in the pinned comment. Another new entry now, and perhaps the most surprising, in JBL's Tour One M2. I especially like the design with these, and how the glossy accents complement the matte ear cups. The build quality is higher than the lightweight design suggests, the ear cups fold in on a weighted mechanism, and the extension on the headband is satisfyingly precise. The main benefit of being so light, though, is comfort. The padding here is extremely soft, the ear cups are spacious, and the clamping force is noticeably light, so the overall comfort is excellent. JBL's control scheme is extensive. You've got both touch and button controls, responsive wearing detection, plus hands-free Google and Alexa integration. On top of this, the ANC button doesn't just cycle each mode, but a double press will activate talk-through mode, which lowers your music volume and turns on transparency to let you have a conversation. You could even go hands-free entirely and activate this with the Smart Talk feature, kind of like Sony's Speak to Chat. It's like JBL took Sony's feature template and added in a couple of extras to provide a truly feature-packed companion app with a huge amount of customization. The actual noise-cancelling performance isn't amazing. It definitely helps, and it's nice to be able to choose between adaptive ANC or to set the level yourself, but it doesn't compete with the market leaders, and these rank the lowest in this video. The transparency mode, though, is one of the best, and again you can set your own level for this, plus there's a great accessibility setting to further increase the amplification or to adjust the left-right balance. For battery life you get 50 hours or 30 with ANC, and you can customize the auto power off time to help save on battery when idle. For connectivity there are no high-res codecs, but we do get Bluetooth 5.3, multipoint and fast pairing, passive playback via aux, and Android's audio switch support. There's also a lower latency video mode, which can help with things like gaming, but these aren't the best choice for that.
What surprised me most about these was the mic quality, where these ranked in second overall for phone calls. The background noise isolation was excellent, often silent during phone calls, even in noisy environments, but I found these didn't clip my voice too much either. There's also a customizable voice-aware feature, so you can hear your own voice during a call, so if phone calls are a priority, this is one of the best choices on the market.
And then we've got sound quality, and this is probably where you might be a bit confused that JBL have made this video ahead of other great sounding options. I'll admit these don't have audiophile grade sound, and in fact they rank in last for sound quality in this video. But when choosing my final 8 headphones, I weighted each category for importance with sound at the very top, and these still comfortably made it. That's how good the overall performance and features are. The Tour One M2 aren't actually as bass heavy as you might expect from JBL. They're surprisingly well balanced despite still leaning towards a warm overall tone. You still get an exciting, high-energy sound, it's just lacking the ultra-high clarity and detail more premium options offer. I didn't think much of the spatial audio modes here, nor the personalised EQ. However, the low-volume dynamic EQ and the 10-band custom EQ are both great additions. The sound quality will still easily satisfy a casual listener. Understandably, these won't be for everyone. Many are after a class leader in sound quality, and that's fair enough. But none of those is going to rival what the Tour Ones offer in comfort, the mic quality, or the hugely versatile feature set. Those things could be worth the compromise. They retail for $299. Another familiar face now in B&O's Beoplay H95. Last year's sound quality winner offers some now aging specs, but the overall performance has earned them a place as a finalist again this year. With the frankly ridiculous metal carrying case housing the leather-bound braided cables and microfiber cleaning cloth, you can start to see where B&O came up with their $1,000 price tag. The headphones themselves have a titanium and real leather construction, magnetic ear cups, and these only just trail B&W for the build quality. This is another luxury pair of headphones. It does consequently make them heavier, and these are really only average at best in terms of the padding, the ear cup size, and the clamping force. Comfort is fine, but you could wear the Bose and JBL headphones for far longer, and these sit in last place there. The H95s combine touch controls with rotating dials for both the ANC level and the volume. Very intuitive and rather unique. The B&O app is limited in the features and customization it offers, there's no wearing detection either, but you do get equalizers and toggles for adaptive ANC and even wind noise reduction. The ANC and transparency are actually quite good. Often the luxury audiophile models tend to be weaker with those, but B&O's is surprisingly effective, the ANC in particular. I'd say these were A tier, whereas say Sony and Bose would be classed as S tier. Battery life is pretty great too at 50 hours or 38 with ANC, and connectivity is almost great with support for aptX adaptive, fast pairing and multipoint, but Bluetooth 5.1 is pretty ancient now, and the lack of any passive playback does let these down. I'll shout out the IP53 protection rating though, because although this means the H95s fall shy of even basic splash proofing, any kind of dust or water resistance in over-ear headphones is pretty much unheard of.
If not the comfort, then I'd have to say the mic quality was the weak aspect. The background noise isolation was only average, and it's mainly just a lack of clarity for my voice that means these aren't as good for phone calls as the rest of the competition.
Where these are truly unrivaled though is in the sound quality. Once again, the Beoplay H95 are the winners and the best sounding wireless headphones on the market. I've tested every major rival since these launched, even retested some close contenders that have undergone improvements, but they still come out on top. I wouldn't personally buy these for myself because of the price, but I won't deny that the precision, the clarity and detail, and the instrument separation here is truly special. The H95s are expertly balanced with natural, clean bass, a rich and open mid-range, and impeccably crisp highs. As Bluetooth headphones go, this is one for the audiophiles. And that could well be a good enough reason to fork over $1,000 in cash. That's the current price on B&O's website, and honestly, discounts are still hard to come by in 2024. The Beoplay H95 are undeniably a fantastic pair of headphones, and the sound alone wasn't enough to qualify these as a finalist this year. The strong performance elsewhere was needed too. These are the best sounding wireless headphones, but of course that price tag will be too steep for many. Making a 180 now to the cheapest model in the video, Soundcore Space Q45. Now, these narrowly missed out on last year's video, but my improved ranking system, prioritising the most important aspects of headphones, has meant these earn a spot this year. I've already made a full review of these on the channel, so check that out for a more detailed look. Soundcore have done a good job in making relatively cheap materials seem a lot more premium, and the glossy accents and metallic headband are offset nicely against the matte ear cups. Those are large and have thick plush padding, and despite the rather thin headband padding, comfort is actually quite good. There's an average clamping force, and I only felt some soreness at the top of my head after 5 hours or so of wearing them. The button controls are sensibly spaced out here and across both ear cups. My one gripe really is the lack of wearing detection. The Soundcore app offers a few extra features though, like prompt tones, auto power off, and my favourite, which is safe volume. You can monitor the volume of your music in real time and set a limit to protect your hearing. It's brilliant, and all headphones should do this. Soundcore's noise cancellation is very good, but it becomes excellent for the price. You can choose either a custom level or adaptive ANC, and there's wind noise reduction. There are custom transparency levels too, but you can change this to talk mode, which lowers your music volume too. This replaces transparency mode though, so you can't have both options with a press of a button like you can with JBL's headphones. The battery is amazing at 65 hours of straight listening or 50 hours with ANC. That's one of the best on the market right now. We also get Bluetooth 5.3, LDAC and multi-point support, fast pairing, and there is passive playback via an aux cable.
With the mic quality, these sound really good in quiet environments, but you can run into problems if you've got background noise. The AI noise cancellation is quite aggressive, and it can muffle your voice and clip some of your words as it tries to fight off the background noise. So they're okay, but you probably want to stay clear of noisy environments.
For sound quality, these are one of the best sounding pairs of headphones at this price point. The tuning is V-shaped and consumer-friendly, as opposed to a flatter audiophile tuning that aims for accuracy, but you get strong bass, good clarity, and some crisp treble. You've also got loads of customization options, from the vast library of preset and custom EQ options, to the Hear ID feature for personalized sound, and there's even a handy shortcut to the bass up toggle, which you can assign to a quick double press on the ANC button. So they're versatile, great for average listeners, and punch above their weight. But like JBL's Tour One, you might notice a step up in sound quality with our other entries. The Space Q45's strong all-round performance earned them a spot as one of the best headphones on the market. But if you were to factor in the price, less than $130 right now, then they become one of the best value headphones as well. That's ultimately going to be Soundcore's greatest advantage against these competitors, and they easily offer the best performance to price ratio. And the final entry then, you guessed it, is Sony's WH-1000XM5. They had a pretty unassailable lead in last year's awards video, and to be honest, they do again this year as well. They're just great at pretty much everything. They have a sleek and minimal design, but although the build quality is very good, you certainly wouldn't class these as a luxury model. but this design is built around comfort. The clamping force is incredibly light, and the ear cups offer so much room that so few headphones can come close. It was ultimately a toss-up for me between these and the Bose QC Ultra for comfort, and it really could go either way. I know some have complained about the headband padding here, but these are so lightweight that I personally don't have any issues. So there's comfort first of all, but then you've got one of the best control and feature systems on any pair of headphones. Responsive touch controls, wearing detection, and hands-free Alexa and Google for starters. Plus, you've got Sony's excellent quick attention by covering an ear cup, speak to chat, adaptive sound control, service linking like Spotify Tap. There are so many ways to personalize them and to make them more convenient. JBL is pretty much the only competitor to rival Sony's expansive feature set. With such a loose clamping force, it's surprising how effective the ANC performance is. Now we know Bose dethroned Sony as the ANC king a while back, but those two remain a cut above the rest. Sony leads the way with the transparency though, offering the most natural amplification of your surroundings.
They're also still the market leader for the mic quality. They isolate your voice from background noise really well, but what sets them apart is how natural they're able to keep your voice sounding during calls. JBL offered some good competition, but the phone call's crown still belongs to Sony.
The Mark V's round off the spec sheet with a solid 30-hour battery life and fast charging. There's LDAC, fast pairing and multi-point support, along with passive listening via an aux cable. So connectivity is good too. So what's left is the sound quality, which I guess is Sony's weakness. I say that because these sit outside the top 10, and you wouldn't class these in the same league as Sennheiser, Focal or Mark Levinson. But it would be fair to still say these earn 4.5 stars and to describe it as very good. Sony still leans into that warm sound signature with an emphasis on bass, and these don't offer the clarity and detail of the market leaders. I will credit Sony's equalizer options though, the spatial audio and upscaling options, as well as the relatively loud max volume. The thing about the Mark Vs and why these so often get ranked as the #1 choice is that they're so good at everything. They're easy to recommend and don't come with an extortionate price tag. Still, I understand why someone might still not want to pick these, particularly an audiophile looking for a truly premium sound experience. You can find these now for around $350. Okay, so let's just summarize how those headphones stack up against each other in terms of the key features and specs. Feel free to pause here to see if your favourite ticks all the right boxes. You may for instance want to check with which models you can still listen with a cable when the battery runs out, or perhaps you need one with a folding design for easy travel. Hopefully this comparison helps. And now let's switch over to see the rankings for each major category, and again, this is only how they compare relative to each other. First doesn't necessarily mean good, just like 8th doesn't have to mean bad, and you could of course choose different categories. I've shown the final scores simply to make it easy to compare. Like last year, you can pick your own winners here based on the factors you personally prioritise. Most of us don't consider each of these aspects as equally important. That's why for the Headphones Awards I weight each aspect according to the most important factors, with things like sound quality and comfort at the top, whereas battery and sound leakage would be lower down. So my actual final rankings looked like this, and once again Sony still emerged as the overall winner. I admit it would have been more interesting to have a different pair at the top of the leaderboard this year, but I approached the testing process as objectively as I could, and Sony's great all-round performance does speak for itself. It's also interesting how factoring in the price really changes how the comparison looks. That's why I like to make other videos on the best value headphones too. But it's no surprise to see Soundcore move up to first here. I enjoy how the final list offers a great range of options, and suggests to me the fine-tuning of the ranking system is heading in the right direction. You've got luxury models like B&W and B&O that focus on a premium build and audiophile-grade sound, great for listening to music at home. Then there are the comfort and noise-cancelling kings in Bose and Sony. You may be looking for a pair that's great for your commute or a long-haul flight. Others might prioritise convenience and customization, and therefore the feature-packed options from Technics and JBL. But if those bowls of porridge are still too hot or cold, you might find Soundcore and Shure sit in that sweet spot of balancing premium sound with great all-round performance. For me personally, I agree Sony are objectively the best, but I'd pick the Px7 S2e as my winner this year. They don't use real leather, which is perfect, but they still let me enjoy B&W's superb build and sound quality. Plus, the $300 cost saving over the Px8 doesn't half help either. I love the simple, reliable button controls, the improved mic performance, and the fact that I can still get a luxury model for under $400. But I want to hear from you. Which headphones do you think are the best on the market right now? If you think I missed a pair, then of course let me know. Obviously, a lot more went into the testing process than I can showcase here, but I'd love to hear about any competitors that you think can beat these. Also, please ask any questions you have, because I can never fit all of the information in for each pair of headphones. But hopefully you still found this helpful, and if so, then please give this video a like. Months of prep goes into these videos, so your support is greatly appreciated. If you like this in-depth style of video, then make sure you're subscribed for this year's Earbuds Awards, which is coming very soon. Alright then, thank you all so much for watching. Genuinely, it really means a lot. And hopefully, I'll see you all in the next one.